The 4K and 20 kill badges in Apex are some of the most highly desired badges and milestones that not everyone's going to be able to get. But if you are watching this video, then you are already a step above everyone else, and with a little work and some smart gameplay, we are going to get you right there. In order to get the easier 4K damage badge, there's really a few things that a lot of players can implement to give themselves that extra boost to turn a 2500 or 3000 damage game into a 4000 damage game. It is worth mentioning that if you are a player struggling to get, say, 2000 damage in a game or really anything lower, you probably are going to have a tough time getting a 4K, as your skill level just is not quite there yet. Doesn't mean it isn't possible, but it's all about having perspective and having realistic goals. Start with a solid goal of, say, 2500 damage and then work your way up as desired. Before you know it, 2500 could be the norm. As far as what the 4K badge means, it is not much of an achievement when it compares to something like a 20 bomb, just because you can more artificially create a scenario where dropping 4000 damage a game is possible, where a 20 bomb, this is really not the case. Doesn't mean it isn't a great achievement, just means it's not really as highly regarded when it comes to an upper tier player. There's really two ways to get a 4K, and it's either playing passively or aggressively. You probably have watched your favorite streamer or content creator get those 4K damage games playing aggressively, and it's pretty self-explanatory. This basically just involves pushing everyone with your favorite loadout and more or less just playing the game. This is going to require a ton of skill to do so, and if you are watching the video, you probably aren't going to fall into this category, at least not yet. This is where you should be striving to be though, and with a lot of hard work and time, you will get to this spot. The second playstyle of being more passive is really what you are going to want to do and utilize. This has a ton of advantages when it comes to farming damage games. For starters, you more times than not will just live longer. Living longer is good. This means more chances to poke enemies, and ideally ranged weapons will be what you want to grab, so you can't just poke without really having to ever commit to anything or invite a third party. This, however, does not mean completely playing scared. You still have to be shooting literally everything you see, as every little damage does count. Having the thought of needing to shoot everything, even if they are mega far away, is the thought you need to have when you are farming a damage game. We briefly mentioned weapons, but weaponry is actually very important when it does come to farming damage, even more so than the 20 bomb badge. Specific recommendations and favorites of mine are going to be the longbow, 30-30 repeater, bow check, and the charge rifle. These are just a few great weapons, but really any longer range or mid-range gun is going to be optimal. My specific favorites are the longbow and 30-30, as they can be a little bit more versatile and even work in the closer ranges if you are in a pinch. The big thing with these guns is that you can easily throw a 3x or a 2 to 4x scope on it, and you're going to be pretty versatile when it comes to just shooting whoever you do see. You can of course go the aggressive way and just grab a car with a flatline and spray enemies down and push everyone. This, however, is not going to be the easiest way to achieve it for most players. I do think weaponry matters more than legends, but there's a few legends you can pick if you want a 4K badge for any legend. For starters, any legend with movement will just help you get to the fights quicker, and this does mean more damage. Legends like Watson or Bloodhound or Lifeline, to name a few, really aren't the greatest to farm 4Ks just because they do not have any raw natural movement. Maybe Bloodhound in their ultimate, but overall not as great as someone like Valkyrie. Valkyrie is probably one of the easiest legends to farm a 4K with due to her ultimate and passive abilities. The ultimate will allow you to fly around, which means getting from battle to battle quicker, but the big strategy with her, I find, is to find enemies by scanning them and either land off to the side on high ground or at a building and really just poke them for damage rather than committing to a fight. Loba does not have a lot of movement, but her ability to post up and loot tons of ammo from around her is quite nice. Her bracelet is a nice perk to again get a little bit of height if needed. Fuse, I can say, is a sleeper legend when it does come to farming damage. A knuckle cluster that can do up to about 100 damage every 20 seconds is a pretty wild ability, and it is very underrated. Definitely don't sleep on Fuse when it comes to raw damage output. Rampart is also great. Her nth walls increase damage output by 20%, which means a 3200 to 3300 damage game plays out more like a 4000 damage game. This can make a massive difference. Of course, any legend really works, as you want to get a 4K on the legend you want to play, but drop a comment down below and let me know which legend you are trying to get your 4K on. Ranked or pubs is actually a really great question that I think a lot of players need to ask themselves when it does come to farming damage, especially if you are playing in the new ranked system. But first, hit that like button. I really appreciate the support. Ranked is harder technically, but ranked games are much slower, which generally means a lot more poking opportunities at the price of enemy skill. Pubs, however, are faster games, but at the price of a shorter match, and sometimes just finding enough enemies to fight is going to be difficult in a pub game. game. I think if you are a newer player or you haven't played ranked in a while, I would hop in there. Otherwise, I would say anyone platinum or higher, it might be better off doing pubs. Another pretty small tip, but also a tip that can massively change things for you, is to finish your knocked enemies. Finishing knocked enemies adds an additional 100 damage to your counter, and even if you are finishing enemies that are not even your kills from afar, this can quickly add up to a free 500 to 1,000 damage every match. You could even risk it and go one step farther and allow enemies to revive players to farm them more or less twice. It's a little risky, but it is another viable tactic. A huge mistake players can make when you are going for that 20 bomb though is playing with randoms. If you want to forego the torture of playing with randoms, or if you're just looking to chat with others, hop into the community Discord. We would love to have you. One of the toughest badges to acquire in Apex is going to be that coveted 20 kill badge. For a lot, it's really a milestone in an Apex Legend player's career, and it's almost like a way to just validate and show your skill to others. The biggest difference between the 20 kill and the 4K damage badges, it's going to be that getting that 20 kill badge just requires you to be a better player, whereas the damage farming badges are a little bit easier to acquire for any player of any skill level. Unlike the 4K badge, passive play styles will not work. The slower you are overall in finishing fights, taking fights, looting, and overall rotations just means less of a chance you are going to have to get that one extra fight in that really matters an immense amount. Getting the 20 bomb badge almost means you need to play so aggressively that you are just not overly thinking about the most tactically way to approach a fight, and really you are just going in and using your raw gun skill to make up the difference or lack of thoughtfulness. Almost no regard for one's safety needs to be done, and really you gotta push everyone as fast as you can and as often as you can. For weaponry, I think this does matter less than the 4K badge, but you will absolutely want to use mid to close range. Sniper and marksman weapons can have some use, but overall you're gonna have a harder time pulling off a 20 bomb with these guns. I think the flatlining car combo, or even just a car with a peacekeeper, are incredible combos, as there's a pretty good amount of them on the ground, and heavy ammo is the most common ammo type this season. This means a more streamlined experience with less time needing to hunt down that ammo because it is going to be in people's death boxes. Also, these combos are very good at just being very aggressive and pushing everyone. The Havoc also deserves a mention, as its level 3 mag size of 36 rounds works incredibly well as a close-up to mid-range hybrid weapon that really is one of the best guns in the game because it has one of the best time to kills in the game. Other notable mentions are, of course, the Spitfire LMG, the big gun, the one where you just pull the trigger and everyone falls over, and you will have the R301 if you do land on a crafter, but I do find spending any time to craft a weapon really not to be worth it, so take care if you do this. You would hate to miss out because you did sit on the crafter and craft. Arguably the best legend for a 20 bomb is going to again be Valkyrie. The movement is too top-notch not to recommend. Rotating from squad to squad cannot be undervalued, and she will be my definitive #1 pick for a high kill game. Beyond this, really any legend works, but any legend who excels in fights and quick rapid kills will be helpful. Legends like Pathfinder or Horizon are great because their ability to quickly take and finish a fight and make something really out of nothing when it comes to positioning and overall in-fight utility. You might also want to look at Loba. Getting a kill or a wipe and then looting quickly with the black market can be a really great way to rapidly get loot without needing to walk around and poking your head in each individual death box. Again, it's just going to speed things up. No doubt about it, when it comes to ranked or pubs, you'll want to stick with pubs for a 20 bomb unless you are some sort of freak gaming warlord, which in case, why are you even watching this video? I'm kind of like a broken record at this point, but the biggest thing that comes into being a factor when you are going for that 20 bomb is gonna just be luck. You really don't have any control over how fast the lobby dies, and because of this, the majority of your games will not even be capable of reaching 20 kills because the lobby is dying very fast. The best thing you can do is to identify and understand when you actually might have a 20 kill game on your hands. Generally, this will be very early on. You might get something like 4 to 5 kills in the first couple minutes of a match, and there are still like 40 to 45 people left. This for me almost always triggers the fact that I will have something special and I need to play a little bit more aggressively than I normally would like. Likewise, if I can't get anywhere from 7 to 10 kills in the first half of the lobby being killed, I am also feeling pretty great knowing that I have 10 kills with 25 to 35 players left. Using these triggers or milestones mid-game is really a good way to just understand how you need to play so you can adapt accordingly if you do need to be a little bit more aggressive. I will say that even if you aren't capable of getting the 20 bomb during a game because it does slip away from you, or maybe you are not quite there yet in skill, I think playing like you are going to get one is important, as you're going to be in the mode of better practice with the those rushes and that aggressive gameplay to be more accustomed to what it's going to feel like when you are actually close to getting a 20 kill game. It should go without saying, but hot drops are basically a must. Landing with 2 or more teams means more randomness and 50-50ing off spawn, which is going to mean more dying, but it also means having more potential kills without really needing to move around, which is much welcomed when you are going for a 20 kill game. Again, you're going to find a quick death more times than not, but this is going to be the play style if you do really want to get that 20 bomb. This also means understanding one of Apex Legends' basics of dropping and flying down to the ground is critical. Try landing on floor loot for the best chance of survival off spawn, and don't roll the dice with opening a loot pill while you pray to get that gun and another player just walks over that R99 and one mags you in the back. Looting in general is a pretty big thing to understand, and I would say looting is going to be the make it or break it factor for a lot of players that are missing out on a 20 bomb. You need, and I say need, to spend the most minimal time looting unless you need ammo or you are literally out of shields. No more than a few seconds. I would say 5 max should be spent after a fight getting equipment. Hop into a death box, pick up the necessities, and move on. Playing this way gets you in the mode of killing and rotating rather than spending excess amounts of time looting. And honestly, if you're playing pubs, I think this is really the way you should always be playing pubs. You really want to be getting as much action as possible so you can get better at the game. One thing that I think is also often underlooked or undervalued is that your teammates need to be pretty bad. Shouldn't be a problem, right? Anytime your teammates get a kill means one less for you, which in turn is going to matter a lot in the duration of a game. Getting poor teammates, or even better yet, playing solo queue, is the way to go. It's not going to be easy, but in general, it's needed if you want to get the 20 kill badge. Another option is, of course, grab some friends and have them feed this to you, but I find that this isn't really great, and if anything, it's going to give you a false sense of accomplishment if you are able to get fed that 20 kill badge. If you truly want to get the badge, though, you should check out this 101 tip video to excel and master your game. And as always, happy gaming, legends.